Hey, everybody. Welcome to our Element Discovery webinar. We are really excited here to introduce today our latest package from Element 451, Element Discovery. My name is Eric Range. I'm the Vice President of Product here at Element. I have the great privilege of working with the entire Element team, but in particular with our founder and CEO, artists, and a great engineering and product team that brings things like Element Discovery to life. All of our AI features that we've been leaning into so hard for the last over a year now. And I'm joined today by Michael Stephenson, our product marketing manager. Michael has the dubious task of keeping me on track and making sure that all the things are happening that need to happen on a product launch, but he also manages our help center, our documentation, and our customer comms to make sure that as we're releasing all of these great features into the world, that people know all about them and can find the resources they need to do that. So with that, I just want to give a quick pause for a quick commercial announcement. I know it's worse than Hulu that we haven't even gotten past the title screen and we're taking a commercial break here. But if you are headed to EDUCAUSE in the next couple of weeks, Element will be there. It's a great opportunity to connect with us in person. That's in San Antonio. We are smack dab in the middle of the exhibit hall, so come see us at our booth. We'd be happy to talk Element Discovery or about any of our other packages and features across the entire Element ecosystem. We're also hosting our own AI Engage Summit at the end of the month, the following week, focused on leveraging AI in student engagement. And we've got a number of our Enrollify creators who are going to be giving sessions and talks during that session. So please go to element451.com and register for that. That is a free online event, and it takes place over 2 days, the 29th and 30th in the afternoons Eastern time from noon to 4. So head over to element451.com. You can click on the banner at the top of the screen and join us for that as well. And we are at the height of higher education conference season. So Element will be in lots of other places as well, AMA and some regional conferences over the course of this fall before the end of the year. So make sure you connect with us in other places as well. With that out of the way, let's jump into what we're really talking about today, which is Element Discovery. Element Discovery is a new package from Element 451, and this joins our existing packages. The Element Discovery packages focuses on our generative search feature, which we have deployed across Element 451. This allows you to simplify information discovery and transforms your traditional website search on your institutional web page or other web properties you might control. This is a very narrow slice of the functionality that we have in the total Element 451 platform, but it solves a very specific problem. So we wanted to offer this as sort of a standalone feature, standalone package for folks that may not be ready or have other solutions in place with our other packages. So just a quick review, our other packages, Element Bolt includes not only Element Discovery, but also includes our other Bolt AI features, like our AI assistants. They are multi-channel and multimodal, so they can communicate with students and other stakeholders across SMS, web chat, email, and soon to be phone calling. So we're really excited about the power of our AI assistants, and folks who are on the Element Bolt package get access to both discovery and those AI assistants. Moving up one more rung, we've got Element Ignite, and that adds our marketing automation and our campaign builder. So you can send great looking emails, customized and tailored to specific segments and audiences really easily, and with a really best in class email and SMS campaign builder. And finally, Element Engage. That's our flagship product and our flagship package where we're unifying the student experience using all of the features in our modern CRM platform that includes application and decision management, task management, events, applications, appointments, and coming soon, our new Student Hub, which is a mobile-first AI-powered experience for students. So that's where sort of Element Discovery fits into the overall ecosystem and where it is kind of in relation to the other packages. One thing of note, I know we have a number of our current partners here. As we go through the demos today, you may see as we explore sort of the back end of Element that it looks very different from what you are used to. Element Discovery, we created a bespoke experience for our users there because it is such a narrow slice of the overall functionality of Element 451. So if you're an existing partner and you're on Bolt or Ignite or Engage, your backend experience will be a little different. You can do all of the things we're going to demonstrate today and talk about today on the student-facing side or on the public-facing side. And you guys can actually do more because there's more integrations with other parts of the platform as well, like custom inquiry forms and other things. So for those of you who are existing clients and existing partners, just keep that in mind. So at Element, when we focus on a feature and we want to move something ahead, we don't do it because there's a shiny new technology that we can run around and utilize. While that's fun, we always focus on what is a problem that we're trying to solve. And the problem we kept seeing over and over again, really for years, and there just wasn't a technology to help us solve that problem, is the search experience and the web presence actually hurting our brands, right? Where people are coming to our websites trying to find answers to various pieces of information or answers to questions, and all they're surfaced is a bunch of irrelevant links. They don't understand where to find the information. Half the answer is on this web page over here that's managed by one department, and the other half is over there managed by another department, right? So you're really relying on the user to find that information themselves, relying on menus and a lot of links to try to find that information. Last year, eXpectations Trend Report came out with top 5 things that students find frustrating about college websites. And this was a survey of both current and prospective students. And you can see a lot of it revolves around not being able to find the information that they're looking for. So it's hard to find information about specific programs and majors. Those websites are lacking information about job opportunities related to each major. So again, this is the service and what students are coming to attend our institutions for. If they can't find the information they're looking for, they may bounce and go to an institution where they can more readily find that information. Hard to use navigation. Listen, I've been navigating college websites now for like 20 years, so I kind of know all the tricks of where to find things. If I'm 17 years old and this is only the 10th university website I've ever looked at, the navigation may not be enough to get me to the information I'm looking for. And then, of course, just deeper information, lack of information about admission statistics or confusing directions related to admissions and other processes out there. So today's users expect our site searches and our sites to act more like ChatGPT and less like Google, right? They want answers, right? Anymore, my first stop when I want to find something out, particularly if it's a pretty straightforward question, my first step now is ChatGPT or Gemini or another generative AI tool, right? I now skip Google and go right to one of those other tools. And that trend is not just a trend for a guy like me, it's a trend that's happening across the board. So more and more people are going to expect these types of experiences in your website, and you want to be ahead of that. I don't know when somebody will coin the next, I Googled it for the verb for, asking ChatGPT. I don't think it's out there yet. I vote for I discovered it, but I'm not sure that Element's got the footprint yet to be the verb in this space. But this is the experience that people are going to be looking for. Just a little bit about the evolution of how we got here from the websites, right? Early on, a website was all about its information architecture, right? You had a menu, you had navigation, you had pages nested underneath, and that was largely how people found the information, right? Much like back in the command prompt days of DOS, right? You needed to know your file structure to be able to know where those files that you put somewhere were. Then came search, whether that was external search with SEO and Google and Bing and other search engines, or your own internal site search that drove individual users to pages only on your particular site. And now we're seeing the next evolution of this with generative AI and generative search coming into play. But students are still lagging in those tools and leveraging those tools. So you can see that obviously students could pick more than one method here, but you can see that the vast majority of folks are still using the navigation to find what they're looking for. They're using that search tool. But we know from the previous slide and the survey that those are experiences they find frustrating. So you link those two things together, and you've got lots and lots of people who are frustrated with that experience they're getting on your website. 30% are using those links we're sending them in emails, and that's great. We hope that if we've given them a specific link from an email, that page content, that landing page, is really relevant to the content they're looking for based on that email. And very few, right? Less than 10% are using chatbots, and we would sort of put element discovery sort of in that vein or in that category, where we want to see generative AI be much higher on this list moving forward, as our students will expect. This is just a quick preview of what you might expect to see as we go into element discovery, but the best way to see this is to actually see it in person. So we'll just move on from here. Discovery, though, is more than just search, right? There's that fundamental piece of finding the information you're looking for, and that, really does a good job of replacing traditional site search. But it's more than just that, right? It's more than just fact finding. There's the ability to have interactive journeys as you go down, and discovery prompts you for follow-ups and you want to ask follow-up questions. And once you've found the information you're looking for, it is so easy to share it from discovery, whether that's with your parents because you've found the perfect match, right? You found the academic program that you want to engage in the future, or you're working with a guidance counselor, or you're working with somebody from a community-based organization, and you want to share this great information that you just found, because we're compiling all of that from across your institutional website and other pieces from within your knowledge base. So we're really excited about where discovery is going, and we've got a number of partners who are already using it. We launched the feature itself back in June, so we have a number of partners who are leveraging discovery already, and we're really excited to take this next step to offer it as sort of a standalone scenario for all of you. So as I said, the best way to see and experience discovery is to actually experience it and see it. So let's go ahead and take a look at discovery in action. First, I'm going to share a more traditional search experience. I'm picking on Fairleigh Dickinson University because they're my alma mater. I know, and you all know, that a search experience does not necessarily is not reflective of the quality of the institution. Fairleigh Dickinson's doing great things. They just got some awesome ratings in U.S. News and World Reports last month. But this is a great example of a search experience which may be off-putting to a student. So I'll come here and I'll do open their search bar here, and I'm interested in medical sciences or medical programs. So we're gonna go ahead and search for that. And just for context, FDU has lots of these programs, right? They have an awesome nursing program. They have one of the best pharmacy programs and pre-pharmacy programs in the state of New Jersey. So there should be lots of things for lots of search results that come up for medical programs. Okay, so here we go. We have 2,033 results across the Fairleigh Dickinson website for me to sift through to see if I can find anything about academic programs that are related to medicine or the medical field. So let's see what some of the first results here are. Okay, so I've got student health insurance information. So this is when I become a student, the healthcare or the insurance I can buy through the university. Great, not relevant to what I'm looking for. Records and procedures. I would have no idea what this is if I hadn't spent time in student affairs and kind of pieced together from this very choppy summary here that this must be about students who need to take medical leaves or something like that. Okay, now I'm actually getting into academic programs, but this looks like it's for maybe police and fire folks who want to come back to campus and complete degrees, some business programs that are combined degrees, medical insurance, medical benefits for employees. Wow, here we are, medical technology, bachelor's of science. So it took me a very long time to find even the first academic program here, right? This is not something that a lot of people would have scrolled this far down to get to this information. So you can see, and I don't know what tool they're actually using behind here, if it's just straight up Google search, site search, or if it's some other search tool. But you can see that the average person would not have gone all the way down to find that. They could, of course, rely on the information architecture here, go to the program finder, but they may not do that, right? They may go to the search bar. So that's one experience, right? That's the experience that we all have on our institutional websites today, but discovery is something entirely different. So when you onboard to Discovery, one of the things you get is a dedicated Discovery landing page. So this is it. It's a kind of a full page experience. And the moment your instance is up and running, is available to you. You can, of course, apply a CNAME to this URL to brand it to your.edu. And you can drive traffic here and have this full experience if that's what you want to do. This particular one is branded Forsyth Tech. We thank our friends at Forsyth Tech who allowed us to scrape their website and bring in their program data to make this as real as possible. So a lot of the information around here that we'll be showcasing today will reference Forsyth Tech because we're using a lot of their knowledge base to drive this demo today. On the left-hand side, you can see if I've had previous conversations or previous threads with Discovery. All of my history is there, so I can come back and see kind of those past conversations and those past queries that I've made. And then front and center is an area where I can interact with Discovery itself. I can come in here and ask any question that I like. We also have starters down here. We'll get back to those in just a minute, but let's see the experience around finding an academic program with Discovery versus what we just saw on traditional site search. So I'm going to come in here And I'm not asking for a specific program in this case. I'm kind of laying out that I'm interested in both art and technology, and I'm looking for an academic program. So here you can see that it immediately came up with an answer, and it's saying, hey, if you're interested in both arts and technology, graphic arts and imaging combines those elements together. And here we can take a quick look at the anatomy of, clicked that by mistake, a quick anatomy of what a response from discovery looks like. We've got the question that I asked up here. We've got the resources that this answer came from. So this may be one or more web pages that we've loaded into our knowledge base. Information can also come from documents and other sources from the knowledge base as well, or you can just put in text and you copy and paste text into your knowledge base, and we can leverage that as part of the information that Discovery has access to share and build these answers. In this case, it found the information on this single web page. If there were multiple web pages, we would show that across here. And of course, I can click on this web page, right? We're citing our source, so I can go to the raw source and explore more if I wanted to. I have my answer here, and Discovery has generated for me some potential follow-up questions that I might be interested in based on the context of this conversation, right? So this allows and prompts the student to continue their information journey, right? That discovery of additional information. When we first released this, I went down all kinds of rabbit holes with this, just clicking on the follow-ups and follow-ups and follow-ups. It's kind of like the modern version of that Wikipedia rabbit hole you used to go down, right? So we generate these follow-ups that might be relevant to the student, but they can also ask whatever else they want. Before we do the follow-up, we also surface any media from the knowledge base that may be relevant to this. So in this case, this is a video. Students can play the video right within the widget as well. So let's go ahead and see what courses are included in the Graphic Arts and Imaging Technology program. Hey, Polly, I see you asked how it appears on the Foresight Tech website, and we'll actually show that in just a minute as well. So hang tight there, and we will show how this lives on your .edu or other web property that you may have. So here, the Graphic Arts and Imaging Technology program has the following courses. Here you can see that this one actually references multiple web pages. So here it's actually referencing 6 different web pages, which means for the student to have found this information, they would have had to go to 6 or more individual web pages to find this answer, right? So this is really giving them the information how they want it, how they've asked for it. So instead of using one of the follow-ups here, I can, ask my own question. Maybe I want to know more. One of these courses here. Let's see. Let's do G141. So again, Discovery is going to go out, find the information. Here it's actually found the web page in the course catalog dedicated to that particular course and is bubbling that information up. But it's more than just, facts, question, answer. Here I can ask it, hey, my career goal is to be a graphic designer. Would this program actually be a good fit for this? Because it sounds good, but is it something that I can do? And here it's using all of the information that it has in the knowledge base to share this answer. Yes, in fact, this particular program at Foresight Tech is a good fit if you want to become a graphic designer. And last but not least, the ever important question, are the salaries good for graphic designers? Because I think that's what I want to do, but mom and dad want to make sure that I have a roof over my head after I graduate. So, that's that. Now here, it tried to find the information. Interestingly enough, it found web pages in the knowledge base, but didn't return that particular data. But we have loaded the ONET data around this particular thing, so you can come in here and we can see some of the things that are associated with that particular career choice or job. So that is a really good way to connect all those dots that the students were looking for around programs and outcomes, and does this fit with my career goals, right? So that's how we got a student who just asked a question, right? And they asked their own question. But we have this concept of starters as well. And these can be dynamic depending on what web page we have this the discovery experience embedded into. So you could have ones that are associated with only financial aid on pages that are .edu/financial aid, and only undergraduate admissions on these pages, and so on and so forth. So these starters can be dynamic. So if I come in here to financial aid, you'll see I clicked on a button that said FinAid, but we've actually passed, what are the types of financial aid that are available? And here we're pulling in that information from the knowledge base. And no matter the topic, right, we can have these same discovery experiences. So one great thing about the knowledge base is not only can you upload your own information that is specific to your institution, but Element actually delivers a number of pre-configured knowledge base collections that you can optionally turn on and off. And one of those is the information from studentaid.gov. So you can actually see we're referencing the studentaid.gov websites here. And we've referenced that as part of this article, or part of this answer. So we've actually taken the custom information and the information specific to Forsyth Tech, combined it with the kind of overarching financial aid information from studentaid.gov, and given one answer that student doesn't actually even have to go to another domain. And here you can see we've actually also brought in videos from the studentaid.gov YouTube channel to be able to surface when these sorts of answers or questions are asked. As I said, students who are making these journeys, right, may get to that aha moment, which is what we want them to do, right? Yes, I found the information I'm looking for. I'm ready to move to the next step, but I want to share this with someone. These threads are, can't be accessed by other public people as long as they are private and they are locked here. But I can actually open this up and make this thread shareable. And then I can share it to my Facebook. I can share it on X. I can share it out to WhatsApp if that's what I want to do. Or I could just copy the link. And when I copy this link here, I can now send that link to someone else. And this is a unique, a unique URL to that thread. And someone else can open that thread up and see everything that I interacted with, right? So let's say I send this to mom and dad. They see what I said, and now they have a question, right? They have a question about something that's in here. They can pick up and continue this conversation. Can I combine grants with other types of financial aid? And what this will actually do is separate that experience out and create a new thread just for them. And so on the back end, when we look at it, we'll see the student thread, and then we'll see the entire new thread that the person who shared with. So that's one way of using sharing. The other way we've seen our partners use sharing is actually in offices, right? They have a Q&A that they've kind of curated inside a discovery thread, and they send that to students as they need it. And as students then continue that, so like, what are the steps for registering, or, what have you, an advisor could send that to a student and then really see those students interacting with those threads, and sort of splintering them out into their own discoveries. So that's a really great way of using sharing, both from the student side and from a staff, staff advisor or faculty side as well. The last thing that I wanted to showcase here is just also the ability, right, on the front end, for lead capture and lead gen, the ability to capture those top of the funnel leads. So when Discovery detects that maybe there's a next step, or that there's a potential interest in something here, it will sometimes surface a special follow-up. And in this case, it's, can I get more information? And this actually pops up this lead capture form, where we can come in here and say, Eric, I can submit this form. And now we've got, as a student, I can continue interacting with this. But in Element, we've now captured that information, and we've actually tied all of these threads to that user who submitted that particular thread. So really powerful way to capture, particularly at the very top end of the funnel. But this can also be used for, in this case, financial aid, to grab that information and make sure that that student is getting the help that they need. And one last example here, just because it doesn't all have to be financial aid and process and what have you, a little more fun, is, you can link your athletic sites and your athletic results to Discovery as well, and see it in action as well. So we can look at something like, so there you go. The game ended in a tie. Who scored? Right, and all of this information can be pulled. All of this information can be pulled out of the knowledge base from various sources, documents, websites, etc. So that is the kind of one of the ways that students can interact with Discovery. The other kind of interesting way that we can start Discovery threads is through a URL parameter. So here you can see that I've got my URL and I've got this little parameter here. So I can send this link to people through an email campaign in, whatever CRM you use, whether that's Element or some other platform, or just in a one-to-one email. And when this starts a new thread, we actually invoke Element, or invoke Discovery, and then have that question passed through into Discovery and starts that thread. So it's another way to kickstart a conversation with students. And of course, if you're using Element, you could actually use a token here when you generate that link, and send their particular preferred major or what have you. So that's another great way to bring students to the Discovery experience. Okay, the last front-facing piece that I'm going to show, and then we'll jump into a little bit of the administrative side of things, is we had a question around, okay, this is great. This is probably not what I'm going to do, right? Send students to this with the only connection to my website being a logo in the upper left corner. So I'm going to naturally embed this into my website, right? Well, that's exactly what Forsyth Tech has done. So here on, just make this a skosh bigger here. Here on the right-hand side, they have their search bar here, and they've actually have discovery living right alongside their traditional search tool, right? So you can search here, or you can ask the AI assistant. And when I click this button, here's the experience you get. So it's very similar. It's just kind of in a shrunk down modal overlay. But all of the functionality that we showcased in the dedicated URL is there. And this is very, very simple to do. We'll show you the embed code in a moment, but you can literally pick up, there's just a little bit of code that your web team puts on in the header of your site, and then you can invoke discovery anywhere on any of the pages on your site. So as long as you can embed that code into your web property, so that could be your .edu, it could be a portal or an LMS or other things as well, as long as you have the ability to add our code snippet into your website or into the website. All right. Before we jump into the administrative side of things in the last 10 minutes or so, Michael, are there any questions that we should be addressing at this point?
Yes, we have one question. We have two technically, but this one I want you to answer first, and it's what happens when discovery, when it hallucinates, for example, when it didn't have the answer to the soccer team. So maybe talk about the difference between the hallucination and the knowledge base limitation, or if the knowledge does not exist in the knowledge base.
Yeah. So in that case, it didn't find the information. It said I couldn't find it. A lot of times in discovery, it will say, go check the institutional website if it can't find a particular answer for what it's looking for, right? So that's the I don't know answer, right? And the answer around hallucinations is we've actually put guardrails on all of our generative AI tools that limits the possibility of an hallucination. Not going to say that it will never happen, but we turn the temperature way down and we give it very specific instructions to say, you're looking at the knowledge base. If you can't find the answer in the knowledge base, don't make it up and don't try to find the answer someplace else. Your job is to find the answers here and only here and nowhere else. So, very, very, very rarely, if ever, will you get a true hallucination like you may have gotten, on some of the older ChatGPT models, like 3.5 hallucinated a lot, right? So that's not as much of a concern here.
Perfect. And then let's see, Jeff was asking about he's revamping the site search tool, their site search tool now, and should they consider turning their site search completely over to Element 451? What are the pros and cons to that? And if yes, could they include or could they insert that into their search box on their main page template?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things is, yes, you absolutely can. And I would say that this is certainly the future of site search. And I think we will see kind of this shared experience or the need or the desire to have a traditional site search wane over time. As we all know, higher education is sometimes slow to adopt new things. And we have existing contracts and other things that we may not be able to get out of. So that will be some of the things that drive that decision, right? At your institution, if you're paying for both, maybe you want to have them live side by side for a little while. But I've been using Discovery long enough that I think that it certainly would be something that I would be comfortable, given what we've seen, right, with some of the results we get returned on traditional site search. We are always going to be head and shoulders above that if you've got the information in the knowledge base. Any other questions out there, Michael?
I think we're good. I just answered Logan. But if anyone else was curious, he was asking about the sharing capabilities. So yes, there's a share on each thread, and when you share it, it actually creates a duplicate of that original thread, so the original is not affected if that person receiving the share asks the follow-up question or clicks one of those follow-up prompts.
Absolutely. Great. Thanks for that, Michael. Okay. In the last few minutes here, we're going to jump into the back end. This is very fast, very easy, not because we're running out of time, but because it really is fast and easy. So for those of you, again, current Element partners, this will look a little different from the packages that you are all on. So when you come into the quick start guide, you've just got 3 things to do before you can start rocking and rolling with Discovery. And that is to install your code snippet that I was talking about. Again, this is just a small script. Copy and paste it into your web property, and you're all set to go there. Really fast, really easy. Probably will take your web team like 10 minutes to do. Finding that 10 minutes will probably be the biggest challenge, right? So, but the actual work is very fast and easy. And then there's just a few things to set up here to customize Discovery itself. Pick your brand colors, upload a few logos so we can brand things for you, and that's it. From a knowledge base perspective, we talked about these universal knowledge bases, and we'll be continuing to add more of these over time. And then adding your knowledge base stuff is really easy. Most of you will be using the website tool. If you're using Discovery, this is where Discovery really shines, is on the website stuff. And we can come in here and we can just do a website, and we'll pull that sitemap and we'll pull all the pages around here. We are huge advocates of curating your knowledge base here at Element 451 because we know our institutional sites, if all we did was grab all 5,000 pages, there's lots of junk on there. So one of the ways we can curate that very fast and easy is to come in and say, hey, you know what? I only want things that are part of the blogs here. So I can come in here, I can give it a path, and we've unchecked all the other things. And here you can see I'm going to go ahead and bring in only pages that have /blog in the path. And now I can also organize things, right? So I can do multiples of these. Here's my financial aid. Here's my blogs. Here's my about. And it just helps the humans manage this down the road than it helps the AI find it. But it's really fast and easy. We've stood these up like literally in 2 or 3 hours, right? And most of that is finding where the logo is and finding the web pages we actually want to add. In addition to websites, though, you can just copy and paste text, as I mentioned, upload files, and you can also do custom answers, which are more of a, hey, when this question gets asked, here's a very specific answer I want you to give. So that's setting up the knowledge base. So that's all the setup. Here's where you can set up your starters. And again, you can say, hey, I only want to show cybersecurity when the path that I'm on contains admissions. So that's why we didn't see this starter, the cybersecurity starter, when we were looking at Discovery earlier, because we weren't on a page that contained admissions. Quickly, we can see the RFI responses. So here's that response that I gave. We can look at the details of that, all the things that happened in that conversation. And we can export this to a CSV so we can connect it to and import that data to other systems as well. You can see all of the Discovery threads. And because I filed that RFI form, this particular thread is now tied to my user, while these are all anonymous, right? So here, unknown visitor started a thread. If we had come in here before I filled out that RFI form, this would say, unknown visitor, but once we add that information, we tied that data back to that individual user. So we can actually see all the things that Eric was involved in. And lastly, we've got our insights dashboard, which just gives you a great overview of what Discovery is doing for you, the number of queries, the number of threads, what folks are asking, maybe where we um, missed things on down here. We can see knowledge base gaps, the types of categories and topics of questions, so you can see maybe where you want to spend more time curating your knowledge base, when those items are coming in, and keywords and the top articles that have been referenced in all of the queries across. And of course, you can filter this down across a number of metrics here as well.
We had a Q&A
So,
come in about knowledge base gaps and how to improve it. So I marked it as answered because you just covered it, but I did want to just call it out that it's in Insights.
absolutely. So here in Insights, you can see all of those knowledge base gaps and see what it said and where you might be able to improve. And there are going to be things that sometimes it just doesn't understand, or you don't have specific information, right? Like here's one that was like scholarships for biology students. Maybe all majors can have a particular scholarship, and you may need to massage the information a little bit to make that connection. So again, you can see the administrator experience is really quick and easy. It's about setting this up very fast time to value for all of you. It's really about the student experience wherever they're trying to discover that information. The one last thing I will touch on, and if you have any last minute questions, by all means, throw them in the chat. But one last thing I will do is just remind everybody, like our AI assistants, Discovery is multilingual. So if it gets a question in another language, it will return that information in the language that it was prompted. So whether it's first generation students whose parents are engaging with this information, right, or international students whose families may not be speaking English, works with Spanish, works with 100 other languages and more that are supported through ChatGPT or through the OpenAI API. So lots of flexibility there as well to serve students and meet them where they are, right? Or their families, to make sure that they're getting the information they need, when they need it, how they need it. All right, folks. Well, Michael, are there any other questions dangling out there?
Yep, we have two I want to ask you. So
Okay,
the first
sure.
one, Logan was asking, is there a way to like basically prioritize specific sources? So like a landing page for international students on financial aid so that they're fed that versus a specific listing of just a specific award.
So one of the ways to do that would be on your starter prompts, right? To what are scholarships for international students, and that way that context is sort of captured within that initial question. Would be a great way to do that, is to bake some of that stuff into those dynamic starters.
Perfect. And then Jerry was asking, and I can send the link to our article that really goes into depth about this, but I'm having trouble understanding the difference between Discovery and the AI assistant.
Yeah. So in fact, Michael, if you want to post that link in the chat for people, we do get that question sometimes. So we actually have developed sort of a chart around that. But I would say that the biggest difference is, right, the personification, right? The assistants really embody a teammate and we view them as helpers and teammates to help students alongside our regular staff, right? Who can be specialized in certain types of knowledge and can interact with students in ways that having that more personal connection is more important, right? Our AI assistants also have access to certain skills and tools like booking an appointment or starting an application, or handing off to live chat, right? So to human teammates to continue the conversation. So that's one experience. The other experience in discovery is, I sort of call it, was it Perry Mason or Matlock, just the facts, ma'am? Where, hey, I want to get in, I want to get my information, and I want to get out. I don't really need that, highly personalized personification experience. So there are definitely places where, discovery certainly replaces a search tool, which is a little more generic, I would say. And then the assistants are really like, hey, these are 24-hour teammates that are here to support our students right alongside the rest of us. I hope I captured all of the good stuff in the help article, Michael, with that.
I think you did.
All right. Well, with that, thank you all very much for joining us today and hearing a little bit more about Element Discovery as a standalone package. If you are not currently a Element 451 partner, we hope you will join us and jump into Discovery as kind of that opportunity to get into the ecosystem and really experience the things we're doing at Element around generative AI and other pieces. Or if you're interested in assistance or some of our other packages as well. If you're already partnered with us, hopefully this was a good reminder of some of the things that we've talked about in our Element community and at our Engage Summit in June. And if you want kind of that fuller experience, I recommend that you go back to the community training that Michael and I did in August around this, because that will showcase a few additional features that are available to you all that aren't available in the Discovery package. If you are interested in the Discovery package, head on over to element451.com. You can go to /pricing and see what it would cost your institution. Our pricing is all transparent on our website based on the number of students at your institution. And there's a button there where you can click for a demo or to get a more detailed quote for your institution. So again, thank you so much, Michael. As always, thank you for being a great wingman and moderator for the Q&A. And we'll see you all in the next one. And maybe we'll see some of you in San Antonio. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.